Hi, good day. We're at Sibos 2015 in Singapore, one of the financial capitals of the world. I'm Chris Principe from Financial IT, and I'm pleased to have with me Michelle Jacobs from FIS. Morning, Michelle. How are you?
Very well, very well. Thanks for having me.
Great, great. So we just want to keep a little bit of your time, but I know that FIS is doing a lot of interesting things, and right now in the banking space, we're seeing this conversion. How do you see that moving in the industry right now?
So we see the banking industry moving from what we call product-centric to relationship-centric banking, if you will, engagement-driven banking. And that means everything is contextual-driven. It's no longer about executing transactions. It's about how you can optimize and maximize an interaction. That on itself is driving a convergence of, if you will, a blurring. Because if I interact against an account, that might be looked at typical banking. But if I would transact against an account as a result of an interaction, suddenly that's called payment. So once you look at the context of what's the interaction all about, you either manipulate a product or you move money, and that combined is the foundation of where we're here for at Sibos.
Well, it's really interesting for me, and one of the takeaways, I'll take one of the words that you used there, is there really a blurring going on between banking and payments?
Absolutely it is, because whether you look on the consumer side or on the commercial/corporate side, in the end, specifically on the corporate side, the foundation of banking is about managing money. This goes back to the Venetian traders, okay? And there's two sides. You hold the money and then you start spending the money. These are traditionally separated, but if you truly look at what the context is of an interaction, it could be either. So the whole notion of starting for those two to be blurred, traditionally the divisions would be in separate buildings. You would have the banking division and the payment division, and you see them having to come together. Everything we're talking about is whether it's using blockchain, suddenly that a ledger is being used to move money around the world. Well, the ledger traditionally was a banking side. So you will have a blurring going on. Doesn't mean it's coming to one entity, but you can no longer look at them as just two separate entities in a bank.
You know, it's really interesting. Of course, at this year's Sibos, blockchain is one of the big words, and obviously has an effect on your business. And FIS is one of the real leaders for as long as I can remember, and continuing. Where do you see the value chain that you're able to provide for your customers and the impact on the industry?
So if you take a step, so the definition of a blockchain is that you look across product distribution and execution. If we map that against our industry, if you would think about product as core, distribution as channel, and execution obviously on payments, then it's a very natural fit. And if you look at FIS, that's what we have done. We provide open mind and open thinking. We're not a core or just a payments or a channel company. Our acquisition of Clear2Pay, which is why we're here now with FIS, is showcasing that. And as you know, the published SunGuard acquisition is extending us on that. So for us, that fits all together. Blockchain for us is yet just another technology. A great example where we see blockchain becoming viable at the minimum to investigate and understand it, and we do R&D around it, is we have a market-leading ACBS product, which is syndicated loans, syndicated financing. And we look at blockchain as a very viable technology to help distribute the ledger of such a distributed, if you will, syndicated loan. Is it very early? Absolutely. Can you afford not to take it seriously? No, you cannot.
You know, it's interesting because I think in some people's minds, blockchain is associated to the cryptocurrencies, but for me, I agree with you. I think on the financing side, on moving money, it's a technology that we have to all study very carefully, and really, as we've seen before from FIS, a leadership role in this area. Michelle, so pleased that you're able to spend a couple of minutes with us with Financial IT. Best of success for Sibos and
Thank you very
much.
Very well to be here.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Chris Principe, Financial IT.